Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lils Takes the podcast. You will notice, yet again, I'm on my own, but it's by choice. I promise I didn't just have no friends and decide I'm going to have to do it on my own. I did do this out of choice because I quite like doing the little solo ones and just talking to you because you send me in some really interesting stuff that is only actually appropriate for me to unpack alone because some of the things you send in aren't all right to share with others. And I don't think you'd want me to because I can actually see your name on Instagram. I won't tell anyone, but I can see it. So it is sort of between me and you. And I'd like to keep it that way. So we're going to be doing some of that later, but this is quite a themed one. I decided this is going to sound big-headed and I promise it's not. We're going to talk about my birthday and specifically my party. No, we're going to talk about my birthday because I turned 21 and for some reason, 21 is seen as like a milestone birthday. And I don't understand that in the UK. In the USA, understandable. You can have a little drink. Also, I think it's mad that by the time you're 21 in the UK, I've been getting hammered for 3 years over here. Do you know what in the US? Do you know what I mean? That's unreal to me. Anyway, not the point of the conversation. It's a milestone here, but I think that's such a USA thing. Like, why is it shouldn't be? Because you can even rent a car and stuff. That's 25. So why isn't it 25? It doesn't make sense. But I turned 21 and it was like this crazy, I had a party and it's the best party I have ever thrown. And I threw some rages when I was 16 in my kitchen. So that's saying something. Laura and Jasmine, they were there. They know. No, actually, Jasmine, were you there? Laura was definitely there. I've got Lauren and Jasmine over there. We might do a bit of producer mic stuff later, have them chatting to you. But that's not this episode, so just ignore me. I never said anything. But yeah, I threw a party and I'm not a massive party person. The only other one I've sort of thrown, quotation marks, because I didn't throw it, VK threw it for me. Thank you, VK. Love you for that. Was the podcast launch party for this pod. And I was just stressed the whole time because I was like, no one's going to come. No one's going to come. It's going to be me at my party and the singer. And we're just going to have to duet all night. And that's the only thing. She's going to have to eat 62 cakes to herself. And then I'm going to have to put all the goodie bags back into my car. And it just made me so nervous. But it turned out fine and it was all right. So this time, my mum was like, there is no way you are having anything to do with planning this party. It stresses you out. And I've got uni as well and exams and stuff because my birthday's end of January, which if you go to uni and college and stuff, that's exam season. So you're getting your first semester worth of exams out of the way. And I didn't want to be party planning. I wasn't that bothered about having a party, to be honest. I'm a bit like, I'll just drink a cocktail and go bowling. That's my sort of vibe. But my mum was like, there's no way you're turning 21 and we're not throwing you a birthday party. So that's what we did. And bless her, she planned everything for me, down to the invitation. She was like, just give me a list of possible people you want to invite. And I sort of did that. And then I gave it to Liam and I was like, but if you think of anyone else, tell them to come as well. You could have got into my party if you said you met me one time in Spain. And I've been like, yeah, of course you did. Come on in. I had so many random people there. I was like, yeah, let them in. Oh my God, I've got a story about that actually. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so my mum planned this whole party, threw it for me. She made food that could have fed 5,000 people. And we ended up taking more than half of it home. And then, because my nonna made vegetarian rolls, which is a wrap that she spread guacamole, avocado and like onions and just rolled it up and put it in a box. And I was like, Nonna, that is gorgeous. Thank you. I'm not sure whether they're going to get eaten at my Rager of a 21st where everyone's absolutely hammered on Fireball. But you can give them a go. And you know what? Actually, quite a few of them did get eaten, but we ended up taking them all to my mum's work the next day and fed another 100 people for 12 hours again because there was so much food. And the cakes had my face on, which is also embarrassing. When it's your own party, you don't want people to walk in and be like, oh, she's everywhere. And my mother also put together big poster boards with my face on or throughout my whole life, like all my pictures of all my friends, and put them in front of the food so you couldn't even escape it. Like you're trying to get a snack and there I am staring at you. And it sort of looked like they were in my living room for days before the party. You know when someone dies and they make boards, they make there's pictures of them everywhere. It looked like I died. And there was pictures of me all over the house. It was unsettling, if I'm honest. But I got used to it after a couple of days. Anyway, so at this party, right, this is what I was getting to. There was some random men that arrived and they tried to gate crash my party. And they were 6 grown men, 30s, 40s, I'm thinking, not even like, you can't even get away with knowing a 21-year-old. It's going to look weird. If you're 40 years of age, you're like, I know this girl, we're mates. Why are you mates with a 21-year-old, first of all? It's looking a bit suspicious. So there's 6 grown men that just walk upstairs to this party and they're like, let's just stop. They tried to buy a beer, I think. They tried to like pay for this beer. And basically the woman behind the bar, she didn't know that they're not invited. So she had the thing ready to pay. And we saw them and we were like, oh, they're not invited. Went up to them, we were like, oh, this is a private party, by the way. You can have a drink and like, but then just leave. We weren't too bothered about it. It was only because there were 6 grown men, it was a bit odd. There was a couple of girls that came in before, like young girls, and they were like, oh, we're so sorry. And we were like, oh no, it's fine, just stay and have a drink. Like, we don't mind. But they were being a bit weird and they were pointing to my pictures and going, yeah, I know her. I know this girl. They have never met me before in my life. And they were looking at me in my face and going, yeah, I know her. And I was like, fully, you do not. You do not know me. And this is weird now. So now you have to leave. Yeah, and they kicked off a bit and it sort of turned into a bit of a shenanigans in the corner of my party and had to be dealt with, which was probably the most exciting thing that's happened to me in years, that someone wanted to gate crash my party. I don't think it was because they specifically wanted to gate crash my party. I think it's just because they wanted a beer and it was the only place open. But it was very exciting. It all got very, are they going to be let in or not? But they did eventually leave because he was being dead cocky about it as well. Like this woman got the little thing that you tap your card on. She was holding it out and then we're like, oh no, they're like not invited. And then he was going, what are you saying? Like pretending he couldn't hear so he could tap his card so he'd paid for his beer so then he had to stay. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and he was like, oh, I don't know what you're saying, I can't hear you, and then tapped it so he had to pay for his beer. But yeah, it was very, I've completely lost the word I was about to say. Uncalled for? No, that's not the word I meant, but it was uncalled for. But what I actually wanted to talk about, I didn't really want to talk about my party too much, even though it was a rager, and thank you everyone for coming. And also, thank you to the guys who came. I don't know what I think it's 360 VIP. They do a 360 camera. I think it's called VIP, the company. And they came and did a little discounted price for my party. And we had this like 360 camera that was unreal, by the way. That was my favourite bit of the night. You couldn't get me off that thing. All of the videos, I'm on them all, practically. And my auntie Nicola. Nicola, you're on every single video of those 360 cameras. Give someone else a chance. But it was great. And thank you so much, if that's you, by the way. I did want to actually talk about turning 21 and everyone, we throw these massive parties and everyone's like, oh my God, it's like, it's some of the best years of your life. Turning 21, it's like a milestone. Why it's a milestone, I don't know. I don't want to get onto that again. But it should be like, these are your young years and it should be one of the fun times in your life when you're going out all the time and it's dead exciting. And for me, 21 is not exciting at all. And it's depressing because I feel like I'm getting old and I'm only 21, but I feel far too young to be this old. Do you know what I mean? In my head, if I was turning 18, that'd be appropriate. 19 is the perfect age. And everyone says, oh, it's that weird age where like everyone's at different stages in their life, and it is. So I imagine maybe for some people, 21's a great age because you're already, I don't know, moved in with your partner. Maybe you've got children. I don't know. Some of my friends are like, it is that weird age where some of your friends have got kids and some of your friends are still like me, living at uni and partying every week. I don't party every weekend. I completely gave you the wrong idea there. But that type of people. So for me, 21 is like, wow, suddenly I'm not just 20, I'm into my 20s. And my next big birthday is going to be my 30th birthday. That is awful. 30 is my next big. It's 9 years away, but that is 9 years too close. That is crazy that 30 is, no. Because right now I feel like 19 would be the perfect age. If I come home, I still live with my mum. I don't have my own house, but I earn money still, but I'm independent when I live in Sheffield. It's this really odd in-between age. And people talk about it, but no one sort of covers. If you're in that sort of young, I don't know how to describe it, the young 21 and not the old 21, I feel like you feel one or the other. And it's a really odd age to be in. And as well as being a really exciting partying age, it's also a really depressing age when you get there. So my birthdays now have gone from being really exciting and, oh my God, I can't believe it's my birthday, I'm so excited, to being, oh my God, it's my birthday, can it not just be in another few weeks, I've not done being this age yet. And that's so sad, going from being a child and being dead excited for your birthday, like, oh my God, I'm going to be 7. That's so old. I can't wait to get older. And now I'm like, please, let me go back. I don't want to get any... And I sound dramatic because I still am only 21, but I feel like it's catching up with me quick. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to... One day I'm going to turn like 34 and all my age is going to hit me in one go. And I'm going to get crow's feet. And I'm going to have to get more Botox because we all know at 20, I got Botox already. I'm going to have to get more because I've started off strong. If you start off with Botox at 20, what am I going to look like by the time I'm 34? You're not going to recognise me as what I'm going to look like. I'm going to have cheekbones out here. And no, I'm going to try my best to stay away from the Botox from now on, especially after the man at the Botox place told me, he went, why don't I just stick the rest of this in your chin? I know we spoke about this before, but he was like, I've got some left over and your chin's a bit, like, you've got a bit of a dimple in your chin. Why don't I just put it in there? And I was like, all right. And then when I left, he tried to tell me I need to come back and get 3 areas. I was like, well, that's quite rude, but I might do that because you're making me feel insecure about it. Anyway, what I was going to talk about as well, this is sort of going back to the party, but it is a very good point. If you are throwing a birthday party, if you're having a birthday party, if you're going to a birthday party, don't have an afters. I feel like that's a good rule for most situations. If you're going out to the club and you're thinking, oh my God, I hope someone's having an afters and we can go and sit in the kitchen. Or if you're going to another club after that. We went to another club after my birthday and it was not as good as the party. Or if you're going to a club, make sure it's a dead good one and they definitely let you in past 1:30 in the morning, because otherwise you're going to be disappointed, stood outside in the cold, already half caught, and you don't want to go to bed. So just go home. You always think afters is a great idea when someone first comes up with it and they're like, oh my God, yeah, yes, let's keep this going for much longer than it should go on. And suddenly it's 6 a.m. and you're sat in someone's kitchen and you don't have a clue why you're there and you don't know how you're going to get home, because Ubers now, everyone's going to work and they're £8. So what are you going to do? You're not going to walk, but you will eventually because it's too far. And also, this is just my tips on what to do if you're going out on the weekend, which is not what I wanted this to turn into, but that's what it is, unfortunately. Don't wear heels 2 days in a row, because my feet, the balls of my feet still hurt and I can't walk more than and I can't walk more than 100 meters without being in agony because I wore heels 2 days in a row. And they're not made to actually be worn. They're made for you to wear for 10 minutes while you take the pictures, and then you're meant to put Air Force on. That's how it should happen. And I didn't do that. I committed to the bit and wore heels 2 days in a row. Don't be me. Go for comfort. Even if it's your 21st birthday, no one's going to mind if you're wearing Air Force on the dance floor. I promise. Because the bouncers, fun fact, do not like it when you take your shoes off. Didn't know they were that opposed to it until Saturday night when I was like, sir, let me take this heel off. And he went, no, I'll throw you out. And I said, please, let me swap with you. And then he said, no. He went, I'm going to have to throw you out if you don't put your shoes back on. And I was like, well, what do you expect me to do? Cry? I'll sit here? So I just sat there. I sat on this step in a white dress. My bum was filthy. And with my white heels that were also filthy because I was standing on the side of them because I could no longer stand on the heel. And loophole though, I took one off and just sat there with one. And then also, funny story, I'm going off on a million tangents. So it was just me and another girl at this point because Jasmine and they'd gone to the toilet. So it was just me and Abby. Abby, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. I took my heel off because I'm in agony. I can no longer stand. I need to ice this foot immediately. I've been out 20 minutes. And she takes the shoe off me. She takes my heel off me. It's like a sock. You know, like the it's not Balenciaga. It's from Pretty Little Thing, I believe. But you know, like Balenciaga shoes that are like a sock, but with a heel in it. It's like that. So she's holding it by the sock part and she's swinging it around. And this old man that happens to be, he's probably not old. I think he's in his 50s. Late 40s, early 50s. She's swinging the shoe around and this man is dancing with her and he grabs the shoe. Oh God, I don't even want to think about it. He grabs the shoe off this girl, off her, and he starts licking my shoe and like putting it in his face and licking my shoes. That's something you only see in the Instagram DMs. That's not a real thing. That's something that OnlyFans creators get paid to do. He didn't have to do that for free right in front of my face. Disgusting. Also, I think he thought it was her shoe. He didn't know it was the random girl sat in the corner with Nike socks on. Otherwise, I don't think he'd have done it. So this man is licking my shoe in the corner of the club, and I'm sat there like, right, what a mistake that was. You know how I said don't go to an afters and ruin your birthday? This is why. Because an old man will lick your shoe in the corner, and that's the only thing you'll be able to think of every time you think of your 21st. So don't be me. But it was quite eventful, and that's when I had to put my shoes back on because the bouncer got upset. The DJ did also end up swinging them round in his booth. But, you know, as long as they weren't on my feet, I was happy. So wear comfortable shoes is the moral of this story. I went off on so many tangents, but that is the main premise, if I'm being completely honest. What else were we going to talk about? I plan these things. So I say every time I plan these intensely, and for the first few, I definitely did. These ones, bit loosey-goosey, if I'm honest. I haven't been too intensely planning them, but I have got some talking points. And I've got maybe we'll sprinkle in a couple of confessions if we want in this video. I was going to ask for some like specific birthday dramas, but sometimes I get some weird ones, and you know the men in mostly it's just them asking if I'm going to send them a pair of my tights, and I just didn't want to be faced with that this morning. So we'll go on to some normal ones, some actual dilemmas, and I'll see if I can help you sort your life out while you guys help me sort mine, as I just waffle. This is like my therapy. I just waffle to you guys, and it helps me. Something else I was going to touch on, I've already said that parties are really so stressful, and that if no one turns up, that's my worst nightmare. My actual birthday. So this is exciting. This is something I feel everyone should do. Have a crazy birthday party, but don't have it on your birthday. And on your birthday day, do something really, well, it depends what day's your birthday. My birthday's on a Monday, so I didn't really have much choice. You can't go on a rager on a Monday. Nowhere's open. That's the only reason. And also, I don't have a job, so it doesn't make a difference to me. I am professional dosser. No, I go to uni, so that's my job. And this, I guess, but I don't really count this as a job. So on my actual birthday, I went to Denby Pottery with my nan. Yes, it was as absolutely raging as it sounds. And my mum, by the way. Christine's the main event though. And it was really wholesome. 3 generations of us on my little 21st birthday sat in a cafe full of only 65-year-old women. I was the youngest girl there by more than 21 years, I would suspect. Sat there, had a little jacket potato, had a chat about the party and how the music was too loud, clearly. And then had a walk around the pottery section. We could have painted a pot. We were too late. So that was sort of the purpose of the trip ruined. And had a little shopping trip with my mum and my nan. And I think having a really wholesome actual birthday is really sweet because then you're not doing nothing and you're not you're not going to ruin it by having a party, but possibly ruining it by doing something silly with alcohol. So I think that's a really good idea. And in the evening, spending your birthday with your parents as well, they really appreciate that. If you spend your birthday with your parents, they appreciate that more than probably you do. You've got to appreciate time with your parents anyway. But me specifically with my mum, spending the day with my mum, I think is really special to her as well as it is to me. So it's a really lovely thing to do. And your nans love you anyway. Your nan will love you. You could kill someone and I guarantee your nan, well, my nan, would still die for you. So there's no harm there. Do you know what I mean? And also in the evening, me and Liam just went for we were going to go and get desserts, and then I decided I was actually starving, and he drove me into the centre of Nottingham to get this burger place that I like. I'm a vegetarian, not an actual burger. Don't worry, I didn't eat meat. But I just wanted tater tots. When we got there, I decided he'd driven me half an hour and I just wanted tater tots. And he was like, we could have got them 5 seconds from home. And I was like, but wasn't the drive romantic? No, because it was to do the centre of Nottingham. But yeah, he drove me half an hour just to get tater tots. And he surprised me by bringing me 2 bags, which was like the most romantic thing he's ever done. No, not he's ever done. But to me in that moment, that was magic. And what a perfect way to spend my 21st. It's sat in a car in the centre of Nottingham eating tater tots with burger sauce. And that just topped it off beautifully. So I punched the mic. Having a chill birthday and then a crazy birthday party, you're getting the best of both worlds. And I think from my birthdays forward is a great idea because I told you I'm getting depressed on my birthdays now. It's becoming a really hard day instead of a fun day. So having a really wholesome day where you just chill and do things that you're going to have nice memories of, no matter what, great idea. I'm not going to look back at my 21st and think, what a depressing day where I just sat in my room and thought about getting old and wrinkly and dying. No, instead, that was really intense there. I said dying with a hard D. But I actually went out and did something really cute, and I could have painted a pot. That would have been cuter, but I didn't. So I'll have nice memories of my 21st now, along with the absolute rage. I can't talk about the party enough. It was great. If to toot my own horn, I didn't plan it, but it was great. ASMR in dry mouth there. I might start ASMR as well. This is a complete tangent, but it just made me think of it. I've got little microphones. That would be great. Can you imagine just like whispering into the microphone? People have been asking me to do that for so long. Maybe it's time I actually take the leap. Anyway, we've gone off on a tangent on my birthday, but I have got tiny little microphones. So maybe if you watch my TikToks, maybe there'll be ASMR on there soon. It will not be serious, but it will be ASMR. Oh, how long have I been talking for?
20 minutes.
Wow. Anyway, I've got some more things to say. Sit back down. I'm not finished. I'm hurting my back though, leaning over and crunching to the microphone. Something else I did for my birthday. Look at me talking about me and my birthday for 20 minutes. This is my podcast. I don't know what you expected. Right. One of my most popular TikToks that I did a long time ago was I had a really bad tan. I got a horrendous tan. My mum did it for me and I went like green and patchy. I hadn't washed it off yet. And that was like 2 years ago. And because it was my birthday, I was like, I've got a tan. I can't be pale for my 21st. It's not going to happen. So I tanned, and I tanned badly, which was always going to happen because I did it. And I made some TikToks of my tan before my birthday party, and people really misinterpreted tan. I think it's men who have obviously never had an experience with fake tan in their life, and they're like, some people in the comments were like, oh my God, this is why I don't fake tan, because it looks like this. And I was like, I haven't washed it off yet. This is clearly not what I'm not going to leave the house looking like I've rolled in a nearby field and then walk into my 21st. It's not going to happen. People who really don't know how tanning works feel the need to comment and be like, this looks horrendous. I'm like, I know, that was the hilarious point of the video. But also I haven't washed it off, and I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to leave the house like this. But there were a lot of really worried women that were like, please, what about baby oil? I've got so many things you could try. And I'm like, no, don't worry. I'm not in distress. It is just how it looks before you wash it off. But it didn't look the best. And I understand why you were worried, because I was making TikToks. But you've got to understand that in my TikToks, not rock bottom, but very little effort goes into the appearance in the TikToks most of the time, because I make them while I'm lying in bed, and I'd just woken up on the morning of my birthday and I was like, I'm going to make a TikTok, and everyone's like, Lord help, you need baby oil and a scourer. You need to peel your own skin off. You need a scourer to get that off. And I was like, no, it's fine. It will be fine on the night. And you know what? It's one of the best tans I've ever done. I looked like a golden goddess that evening, might I add. I'm very petty, so I made a TikTok in response to one of the comments that's like, girl, you need help. I was like, no. I made a TikTok that was like, this is what it looks like, but I never posted it because I didn't want to seem too petty. Because I've posted some petty TikToks recently, and we'll get onto that later. And I need to sort of hold myself back because I'm going to start getting a reputation. The last thing I want to talk about on this wasn't in my plan, actually, until 5 seconds ago before we switched the camera on. We started talking about the fact that my birthday is actually on famous birthdays, which is silly because who am I, first of all? But it's on famous birthdays, which is amazing, hilarious to me. I'm actually, what am I, Lauren? I'm the top
7th Aquarius Lily.
At the top 7th Aquarius Lily on famous birthdays. That's amazing. First, actually, how many other lilies are there that are Aquarius? And I'm not famous, but I'm judging by the fact that I'm in famous birthdays that the requirements to get in are very low. the bar must be on the ground to get into famous birthdays. But the fact I'm 7th, I'm quite over the moon with that. And I thought I'd tell you the story about how one time, actually, I think it was the time that my birthday got put on famous birthdays. I was notified of it. They were like, your birthday's been put on famous birthdays. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's crazy. It's silly, but it's amazing. We went out and I've left my ID. I was in Sheffield and I've left my ID all the way back home in Derbyshire. So I was like, well, there's no way I can go back and get it. I'm going to ask this bouncer if he would let me in. It wasn't the club we were trying to go into. It was just a bouncer at a bar. And I just wanted his opinion. And I went up to him and I was like, listen, if I came to you and I was like, I don't have my ID, but my birthday is on famous birthdays and it's a picture of me, that is me there, would you let me in? And he was like, no. And I said, fair enough. And I turned around and went home because there was nothing I could do at that point. And there's no way I'm going to try and embarrass myself at the actual club going, please, what a beg. What would I actually look like if I'm sat outside the club? My birthday's on famous birthdays. You've got to let me. Oh, no. If you bullied me for that, you'd be so valid. I'd let you. If someone commented hate on a TikTok that's me begging outside a club trying to get on famous birthdays, fair enough. Put me on one of those hate pages. Make one for me. That is awful. But yeah, that's the time I tried to get in the club with famous birthdays. And I will never try it again because it's humbling. So thank you guys. I guess I've just spouted about my birthday for half an hour, but I do like a little catch up. And this is my special birthday podcast. Maybe that's what I'll name it, Lily's Special Birthday Podcast. So you'll have known the topic before we even began. But thank you for listening to me spout about my birthday for ages. And I hope if it's your birthday, you're having a good day. And I hope you take, not advice, because this isn't advice, but you take some notes from my experiences. And if a random man tries to get into your birthday party, it might be easier to just let him in and pretend that he knows you. Just save the drama and don't go to afters. And that's all I'm going to say. So thank you so much for watching and listening, whichever one you decided to do. And I will see you next week with another little podcast. So thank you guys. See you later.